everybody. Welcome to episode 2 of 8 of the limited Simply Cyber original series, How to Market Your Cyber Self. We are going to be joined again by Virginia Kay, CEO and mastermind behind Stratic, a marketing company that is focused on helping cybersecurity industry related businesses and individuals just absolutely excel and dominate in the industry. I'm super pumped. Today we're going to be actually talking about hacking your personal brand, unleashing your cyber persona. Now, if you attended episode 1 of 8, you know the amount of knowledge bombs that Virginia is going to be dropping on our heads today. So I'd recommend strongly getting a notepad and a pen, get a glass of water. You're not going to want to move. You are going to want to absorb all of this. It's incredible the amount of value that Virginia is going to give us. Now, it will be pretty fast-paced because it's only a 30-minute show, but we will have some opportunity, I hope, to answer your questions and really drive into the things that matter most for you. Now, I've already dry run with Virginia on what we're going to be talking about today, and it is absolute value train city. Like it's like, you know, the like the Acela Express. Like it's not, this isn't like a steam train. This isn't Acela Express. It leaves the station like 300 miles an hour, and Virginia's the conductor, and it's just straight value train into value town. So obviously you get it. Value, value, value. Stay tuned. Let me go get Virginia. This is going to be epic. Hey, Virginia, what's going on?
Hey, Jerry, excited to be here. Thanks for having me again.
Of course, yeah, I'm super pumped for this 8-part series. I know chat is super pumped about it. People have been talking about it ever since our very first episode. So really quick, like it's only 30 minutes, Virginia, and I spent like 3 minutes, introing because, I like to do it properly. Let's talk about what hacking your personal brand, unleashing your cyber persona is all about. Like, what is today's episode focused on?
So, today's episode is focused on personal branding and being able to stand out with a cyber persona. So, a lot of what we talked about last time was different ways that you can stand out just in general. This time, it's focused much more on how we are going to make you as an individual stand out. So, I've got some different tips and tricks, some strategies, some conventional, some unconventional, that you can try to help yourself amplify your own personal brand.
I love it. And I see people in chat already asking about episode 1. If any mods are in chat and can link to episode 1, if not, before the show is over, I will link to episode 1. You definitely want to capture this. Also, we're putting it in a playlist, so it'll be very easy to consume later on down the road. But the benefit of being here live now is that you can actually ask Virginia questions and get access to this incredible resource. So Virginia, let's dive right in. What are some unconventional and best practice strategies for building a unique personal brand?
So, part of this is being able to blend the worlds of in person versus not in person, online, offline. So, part of building a unique brand is being able to effectively get out into the marketplace. We've talked about different social media platforms, and you know from our last session that we talked about LinkedIn
Yep.
quite a bit. And it's a really great place for when you're building your career for people to really start to get to understand who you are, what you value. But LinkedIn isn't the only place for you to start building that brand. So, some unconventional stuff for you to check out. Reddit. Obviously, there's a way for you to have a persona here. Facebook, I know some of us are more Facebook era versus others, but Facebook is still a place where there's lots of different groups that you can join. Twitter, obviously, a hot point for a few different people. But also, I'm going to give you some other options. First is Twitch. A lot of us are gamers. A lot of us have an opportunity to get that persona out there, but looking at some consistency for yourself with that brand inside of a community that shares some of those common hobbies is not such a bad idea. Also, if you're not familiar with We3 app, it's actually an interesting social networking platform that uses artificial intelligence to match you with the most compatible people around you. So it actually gives you some of that less awkward experience because it's at least three people that you're meeting up with. And they claim to be the smart way adults make friends, but friends also turn into network, and network turns into business potentially. It's an app for your phone. It's free. It is locally focused. So, especially if you're looking at a job that maybe is hybrid, or if you're looking at a job that you want to be able to go in office and meet other people, it's a really great way to build that group. And they're going to ask you questions about what you're passionate about, different interest groups, and it's a really great way to just build that group. And that is V3 app with the number 3.
Yeah, George Strasberg is asking about that. So V is in Victor, 3, the number V3 APP.
We as in you and I.
Huh? Oh,
We as in
we three app. WE3 APP.
we3app.com.
Okay. Oh, I see. Gregor over in Germany knows what's going on. We3 app. I actually want to bring this up. Is this purporting to use like AI or something to
It is.
figure out what's going on?
With similar interests. Yep, matching
All
you with the
right.
most compatible people.
It is a Simply Cyber production, so
Shall we play a game?
every time there's AI, Virginia, we have to recognize our digital overlords. So when it comes time, I also want to point out Elizabeth Sneed talking about Reddit this week. They're embroiled in controversy with their pricing strategy increasing for APIs. So one question that I have for you as a follow-up. So we're talking about best practice strategies for building a personal brand. You mentioned Facebook, Reddit, Twitch, We3 app, which I find it interesting and would like to explore myself personally. When you're talking about this, can you define personal brand? Are you defining, because the whole concept of the show is unleashing your cyber persona. So are you saying create a personal Facebook account and a professional Facebook account, or take your personal Facebook account and tune it to be identified as a cyber professional?
So, for those of us who are elder millennials, I have had a Facebook account since it was the Facebook.
Oh,
And
wow. Okay.
so, yeah, well, it's been a while. So, what I want to do is when I build out different Facebook accounts for my cyber persona, I'm starting fresh. And again, my mother's friends and my godmother don't necessarily need to know about what I'm doing. It's a great place for me to continue to engage other groups. Now, that being said, it can be challenging to pivot between the two different profiles and really keep track of being like which groups are saying what. So, again, you might just figure out what's easiest for you. But remember that people can look back at your profile history, and I always encourage due diligence around making sure that you don't share too much about yourself in a place that you could be vulnerable.
Yeah, absolutely. And on Reddit, so I have a Reddit account. It's hey guy, right? So it's not Gerald Auger. It's not Simply Cyber. And of course, I was Reddit before I even knew I was going to do a YouTube channel. Do you recommend having that association, making it easy to see that it is, for example, Elizabeth Sneed on Reddit versus, hey, lady on Reddit? What are your thoughts about, kind of the idea of the pseudo anonymous identity?
I think the pseudo anonymous identity is cool. My cousin Nick actually had a big gamer experience before gaming became really cool and online. And I remember meeting somebody who was in the same game as him several years later, and they're like, "That's your cousin?" And they had no idea what his real name was. But it was one of those opportunities that he was known by his handle or his avatar. So it depends on how you want to get out in the world. And especially if you're somebody who's going to be going into the intelligence community, threat intelligence, you need to be wary of how much of that brand you want to have really identify with you as a person, because it opens up vulnerabilities. And you got to think about, if you've got kids, you need to think about all those different areas. And maybe you may be more edgy in anonymous platforms, whereas you may want to be more authentic inside of things like meetup.com. I do really try to encourage people to have that cyber persona in different places and be able to figure out what you want to do from an anonymity or not anonymity standpoint. If you are going to go with anonymity, though, I do recommend that you find something that's kind of nifty. And I actually have a random name generator that is going to be available after this uh, to be able to make sure that I see that you're telling me my audio is being a little weak.
Yeah, I'm telling you what to do too. So when I'm talking, we can do it. This is called producing during a live stream and having chat not know. So yeah,
Okay.
no, you're good. You're good. Go ahead and hit the settings. It's the cog, and then click on the audio, and then there will be sliders on the left, like for echo cancellation, for noise suppression, stereo audio input, high res, auto gain. Turn them all off, and let's see what Chad has to say about that. Ooh, now I'm getting echo.
Turned it all off.
Okay, well let's slowly turn some back on. Here, let's do echo cancellation.
That's on.
All right, this is Jerry. I'm not hearing echo. Chad, let us know. Let's roll with that and see what Chad has to say. Okay, so Virginia, you mentioned some type of auto name generator.
Yes. So there are a few different ways that you can create some fun names for yourself if you're not feeling especially creative.
Hmm.
And
Is it a
I'm reading the
website?
chat here too. Yes, it's called gympix.co.uk.
Okay, hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on. We're bringing it on stream. Okay, it's Gym Picks.
Put it to you in the
Oh, I
chat.
see, I see. Okay, so check it out, chat. I'm gonna drop this in chat. We're gonna play. Everybody's gonna play along. All right. Well, we'll deal like Paul. Paul, I appreciate the feedback, Paul. A little bit better is good. We're gonna run with that. All right, here it is, Virginia. What am I doing?
So this is where you can create that random username. So you can pick out different topics, you can pick out things that are interesting to you, pick out a specific letter. This is just if you're not feeling really creative, but be smart. Do your research on whether or not you want to be known as that, and use some due diligence.
Okay, so I typed in cyber, and just to kind of show you what it's come up with, cyber failing, oh, cyber falling. Cyber failing felt appropriate. Cyber rowdy, cyber gather. I see Nick Barker in here. I see cyber left coast is omitted, but Nick, you can grab that one. So no, this is cool. Cyber sugar. Yeah, this is a fun little easy way to do it, and you can actually qualify it and have it start with certain letters. So for me personally, right, I've already invested heavily in the SC logo, so maybe I choose something that's SC and get it in there. So very cool. Very cool, Virginia. Thank you for sharing that. Another,
Just a free tool, something to check out. And if you're lacking that creativity focused mindset at this point, it's a key way to be able to do that as well. So you guys obviously know about Discord. It's
oh
another
yeah.
place that you can play, but making sure that you find different topics that fit your interests. That's one of the other places that's conventional, unconventional. And the last on my list is Meetup. I really encourage people to look at the different things that Meetup has done since COVID-19. They have online meetups. This can be your cyber persona still. And if you're looking for opportunities to be able to meet with people in person, it's really great for you to grow that network. I'm trying to encourage people to get away from behind their desk. I know I need to as well, but it's an opportunity to really engage. And it's one of those things that you can choose to sort it. If it's indoor, outdoor, depending on how you're feeling about the level of risk inside of your area for COVID, it's something that you can choose to do. And online is still an opportunity as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And Gregor asks about TikTok. What are your thoughts on that? He calls out She Networks, who makes amazing cybersecurity content. Any thoughts around TikTok and the value for unleashing your cyber persona?
Oh, TikTok's a great place if you are comfortable in front of the camera. If you are not comfortable in front of the camera, it's not a great place to be. But there's obviously a lot of dominance, and TikTok also has a great amount of search engine optimization that really can help you to amplify a brand. That being said, there's a lot of mixed sentiment in the cyber community about how secure it is, and you can read as much as you want on that. But in terms of building your persona in the beginning, I would go towards some of the more tried and true, stable, secure platforms versus trying to go and try something that may be a little bit more edgy or perceived as edgy by an employer.
Yeah, I think that's another thing. All right, I guess the light stick's down. We have light stick down. That's another thing to point out is no matter what you do, and I know it's almost like trite at this point, but you have to remember that like anything that you put on the internet is always on the internet. Like I don't care how secure you are or how many VPNs you VPN through. It's on the internet, and there can be attribution at some point in the future. So be mindful about what you put on the internet, right? Right. So, I don't know if you have any examples, Virginia, of like horror stories of something coming back to bite you.
Only things that have come back that people notice they still have MySpace pages. That's one of those things that you thought died a long time ago, but it's still there.
The internet remembers, right?
The internet does remember.
Pepperidge Farm remembers.
So one of the other things is an addendum to the being in person idea. I don't know if everybody knows this, but inside of the LinkedIn app, if you actually open it up, you can actually give somebody a QR code to scan when you are in person. So you are already taking that in-person interaction and turning it digital. And again, depending on how you have your settings set up, you can have them set to follow you or connect with you. And here's one of those gems that I want to give you. If you are working on growing your following because you are looking at being a creator, you're looking at building your brand, you want followers, not connections. Because when you have those connections, what happens is they actually see less of your feed than those who are just following you because they assume that followers want to see your content, that your connections, maybe they don't.
That is really interesting because it's not uncommon. So we do this Simply Cyber Community Challenge, and anyone that I'm not a first level connection with, I connect with, and most times they're already following me. So if someone's following you, you still have the opportunity to connect. So I always connect with them. But you're saying that that's actually possibly doing them a disservice because they're likely to see less content from me?
That's right. Unless they go and click the little bell on your profile on LinkedIn, they could be seeing less.
That is wild. Now, Virginia, you showed me before how to get this QR code on the mobile app. Can you tell me again, because I'd love to show chat. This is another one of those like nuggets that you can take with you and you'll be so happy. Because dude, how many times have you, I'm talking to chat right now, how many times have you been at like a conference or a meetup or anything and you're like, oh, like we should connect, and then you're like, what's your name? And then like you're taking it in the notes app, or you're like randomly texting them and you're like, I'm Jerry from the conference, and you're like, ugh, right? Show me the QR code, because you showed me before and I forgot all about it.
All right, so you're just going to open up the app.
Okay, I've opened the app. I've opened the app. I'm on YouTube, or LinkedIn.
Alright.
I am on YouTube, but I'm on LinkedIn too.
It's going to put you on the homepage. And at the top, you're going to see your picture at the top left.
Yep.
And then it's going to have a search bar.
Okay.
You're going to click on that search bar.
Okay.
And suddenly in the right-hand corner, you're going to see a square with a bunch of other little squares inside of it.
Boom.
And da-da-da, there's
It's
your
just that easy, people. This is not a Rickroll either. So again, just so you guys remember, everybody, if you got your phone, do it right now. Open LinkedIn, click on the home button, click on the search bar, and on the far right of the search bar is a little QR code, and boom, scan me. Let's connect. Let's get lunch. Let's do things. You can also save it to your photos, so you just have it like on the ready. But I think that this is relatively easy enough for anyone to pull off really quickly. So definitely don't sleep on that when you're meeting with someone or doing something like that. It's pretty cool.
And here's another pro tip on that. If you actually save it as your wallpaper, really quickly, you're not futzing with your phone to pull up and go through all those steps. You've already got that picture right there on your wallpaper.
Oh my God, that you just heard a power tip. That's a pro tip. It's although I will say, be ready when they're like, hey, look at my kids. You know what I mean? And then it's like, boom, QR code. I'm all business. I'm all business. You know what I'm saying?
All business. We're at a conference. We're meeting people. We're doing the business.
We're doing business. I love it. So did we already talk about this one? Unconventional best strategies for building a unique personal brand?
So this is a little bit of an addendum to that topic,
Yeah.
which is figuring out what you want to plant your flag on. And so this is about your personal branding. So when you are going out into the marketplace, you need to think about what you want to be affiliated with. I went to school with a girl who always wore bright red lipstick. That was her brand. If you're somebody who only wears neon colors, maybe that's your brand. I remember going through Black Hat last year, and I was walking with a woman who a lot of people know, and she had dyed her hair natural, just normal brown, and people didn't recognize her. It took like 5 seconds, just like, hey, Bob. And they're like, your hair's not pink.
Yeah.
That's part of her persona. As you work to build those things and what you want to plant your flag on, it can be a physical attribute. It can be something where you always wear a certain type of outfit. It can be that you've got a catchphrase. There's all these different things that you can do, but I would recommend really doing some research to make sure that you're not stealing somebody else's ideas. And you want to be memorable for a good reason, not from a cringe reason.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, learn from me, people. Like if you look at people like Dr. Zero Trust, right? Chase Cunningham. If you look at TCM, right? Everybody knows Cyber Mentor and his kind of brand, look and style, that really cool graphic, for all his different courses. There's a couple people in our industry that like the name is just synonymous, right? And then there's people like John Hammond, who's just like so well known that he's just John Hammond, right? Like I didn't do any of those things, right? So I'm just Gerald Ozier. People don't even know how to say my last name, let alone spell it, right? So learn from me. Pick something, stick to it. Virginia, you're giving people tons of guidance as they start on this journey, instead of getting like 3/4 of the way and then being like, oh, I should have done this. I should have branded myself. But that's okay. I'm going to push through on Gerald Ozier and just kind of like really lean into it.
And part of this is also figuring out how you want to customize URLs that you have control over. So LinkedIn is one of those places that you can actually control that. So look at how you want to personalize that URL inside of LinkedIn. So it could be Jerry the Cyber Guy, but maybe that's taken.
Yeah.
So you want to look at some of those opportunities to fit something that fits your personality and something that you want to try out for a while. It could be functional, it could be fun. Figure out what you're passionate about with this and figure out something that fits. And Paul, I like the sarcasm stuff. There's little snarky things out in the world too that I would like to put on, like those best conversations at 4 a.m. But a lot of people are not morning people.
I love
So
it. I love it. So we're getting close on time too. Leveraging cyber and tech-savvy marketing hacks to stand out. All right, Virginia, we've reached the part of the interview or the podcast where you're going to give all your secrets. Maybe not all of them, but like let's drop a couple gems on us for marketing hacks, since you are a marketing expert.
that's what they say. Yes. So the biggest things that I would like to impart to you are making sure that you are authentically passionate about what you are getting into. So read, comment, repost the stuff that you resonate with. Do that in every channel that you possibly can. What we covered last time was make sure that you actually comment first, then like. Reposting that stuff is important on LinkedIn. Join groups that have similar interests, but beware that there's a lot of spam and junk out there, but grow your knowledge. Be a leader, create subgroups. This is a really awesome way for you to continue to grow your thought leadership. I was talking with somebody this morning about how when you start some of these groups, you build that authority. And especially for people who are earlier in their career, you need to look for those ways that you can give. Give altruistically. Don't be looking for the next job, but look for ways that you can connect with people. You can be a moderator, you can be a volunteer. There's a lot of different ways that you can do this. And part of this is being authentically and passionately driven. And so figuring out ways that you are excited, feeling ways that you are energized, going and being around those people are what's going to help make you special. So when you're going out into the world, we were talking a little bit about privacy and what you want to share. Think about the things that you can share that let people know who you are. Think about things that are unique about you that people are going to have as a memorability factor. We are trying to hack the lizard brain here, folks. We are trying to get you to be sticky in somebody's memory. And so if you have different ways that somebody can pull back in and they go, man, it was really interesting. They ate the hottest ghost pepper on the planet and survived. It's a story that sticks. It's something that makes you stand out. And if you think about in the different realms, if you're trying to describe somebody in a crowd, oh, the lady with the purple hat. Figure out some of those things that are visual, some of those things that are auditory, and figure out ways that you can connect. There's some studies now that you can even listen on some of the commercials that they say sound effects make things more memorable. So if you have the ability, like Jerry, to incorporate some of the soundboard stuff, it makes it more sticky. So it's smart.
Yeah,
In
with that,
terms,
I think maybe this. That might be the most sticky sound effect I have on the board. Fan favorite, of course. We're getting a lot of questions in here too, Virginia. But before I take those questions and bring them up, I do want to add one idea that I have found from my experience and get your thoughts on it. And then I'm going to start bringing Chad in. We do have 8 minutes left, so we have plenty of time to get to everybody's conversation. I have found that it is a hack, for lack of a better term, to collaborate with other people, right? So you're able to get into their network, they're able to get in your network. It's very reciprocal, right? So yes, it's cool to be able to go on and share things that resonate with you and that you're passionate about, but also, you know, engage. I gave an example earlier on stream this morning that you know, I found somebody's, a guy named Stefan Waldvogel years ago made a graphic, right? He made it himself, and I thought it was really interesting. So interesting that I wanted to share it with other people, but I wanted to give my thoughts on it. And I could have just put in the comments like, this is cool, what, you know, whatever. But instead I messaged him and I said, hey, Stefan, I want to make a video about this diagram. Is that okay with you? And he said, yeah. So then we got connected and we shared some thoughts and stuff. Then I made a video on it. Then Stefan, who had a large following, shared my video about my feedback on his diagram. And there was a lot of like cross-pollination and amplification and growth. And that's just like one example, and it's totally organic. It wasn't like I didn't search by follower count and then reach out to someone like Simon Sinek, and I was like, hey, Simon, I found anything on your stream and I want to comment on it. Let's collab, right? Like it was authentic. And I think that that's always going to come through if it is genuine and authentic. Any thoughts around collaboration, cross-pollination, and the impact of it?
It's totally important in terms of like your marketing mix. And people know when you're being fake. Although AI tools are making this a lot easier in order to be able to personalize a lot of the messaging, figure out ways to actually connect with that person. There are a lot of different things you could talk to me about that are not work related that like totally get me hyped up. If you want to talk about cleaning up the ocean, man, we can talk for days. Figuring out those different triggers that you are going to have in common with that person, and that it's not just, hey, I want to talk to you because I want to get something from you. That's actually part of the reason that I moved to Texas was I wanted more authentic relationships and to move out of the DC very transactional region. And so I've been very happy to find that here in Texas. So part of this in terms of like those collaborations, you got to help yourself get found. So if you wanted to build your own personal brand, again, coming back to this about your cyber persona, you got to think about the real estate that you have at your fingertips. So part of this is you could have a website. There are plenty of DIY tools nowadays that you can do to spin up a website. Be smart about what you share, but there's all sorts of different ways that you can use this to show who you are as a portfolio of yourself. And especially if you're early in your career, you don't have a lot of those accolades to stand up about yourself. Buy the domain that has your name, figure out ways that you can build your brand. But if you're not going to be doing that, and you're going to be focused on building that persona inside of social channels, use what they give you. Look at all the different tools. LinkedIn is that place where you want to build out a lot of that persona. And then if you're an entrepreneur, one of the things that I would encourage is figuring out different ways that you can refine your offering and get more visibility for you and your offering. So one of those places is a tool called producthunt.com.
Okay, I'll bring it
So,
up on stream. What is producthunt.com?
so this is a place where you can have sort of like upvoting to get your product known out in the world.
Okay, let's take a look. Let's take a look really quickly. Let me actually get this caption off screen here. Oh my gosh, boy. All right, here we go. We're on Product Hunt, and let me zoom in a little bit. So who would be using this and how would they use it?
So if you've got an idea, you're an entrepreneur and you want to build the brand as well as yourself, this is a great place for you to get out and start getting some of your information into the world.
Okay, yeah, I'll drop a link in chat for everybody. There we go. I like it. Very nice. Another resource provided by Virginia. Thank you, Virginia, as always.
So I have a speed through list, Jerry, on the things that you should do on LinkedIn. So if you're trying to find a job, because after our last session and people who kindly took me up on my coffee breaks, this was an opportunity to talk about people wanting to get their next job and being able to stand out as their cyber persona on LinkedIn. So LinkedIn has lots of different tools. You need to make the most of those. We talked about the real estate. There's a lot of different ways that you can do it from a graphical design standpoint. You can look at fiverr.com to have somebody do something custom for you if you aren't artistically minded, or you can play with some of these AI tools. I think that's 3 AI mentions in this call, Jerry, where we can get somebody to actually build out something that fits for you. And also another shout out to canva.com, canva.com. That allows you to do some of that graphic design stuff without chaos.
Oh
Your
my God,
headshot
Canva's so
matters.
good.
This
Yeah.
is where I tell people your headshot matters. If you're not going to use your headshot, make it a good avatar. And also, if you're building a persona, have some fun with the AI tools. Make yourself some type of caricature, but be consistent. And also, don't dupe yourself into thinking that that also means that nobody knows what your real face looks like.
I agree, especially because you're trying to develop a professional persona. For sure. We've got a lot of questions, including one from me, which I will hold until the end if there is time. We've got 2 minutes, which means we're probably not going to have time for me, but that's okay. Base Case shared a pro tip. Basically, if you do choose a name, whatever it is, be consistent across all the platforms so there's that thread that ties them all together. Nice pro tip.
Very important.
We talked briefly about the comment, then like, then share. Mark brings up a true point. The emote bar comes before the comment bar, so it becomes very natural. So a follow-up question was, does it matter to do it in that order?
The answer is yes, according to the research.
Okay, there you go, guys. You got to follow the pattern. LinkedIn user wants to know if they can follow you on LinkedIn.
Please do.
Okay, there you go. Virginia Case on LinkedIn from Stratic. Ben wants to know, what if someone's already got your name that you want to use? What would you recommend is the best approach to solving for that?
So, for instance, Zach Hill has a pretty dominant cyber personality. His actual slug on his URL for LinkedIn is hashtag or / I am nerdy.
Okay.
So, figure out a way to have that aligned with who you are.
Yes, and that's a great example because it is authentic to Zach, for sure. All right, geez, I can't believe how quickly the time flies here, honestly. You guys, we've been watching episode 2 of 8 with Virginia Case on how to market your cyber self. This is an 8-part series. We're here every other Wednesday. And we're going through talking about all of these pro tips on what you need to do to market your cyber self. Virginia, in one sentence, what is the overall thesis of this 8-part series?
The thesis of the 8-part series is being able to figure out how you, as a person in cybersecurity, are going to market yourself, your ideas, and your go-to-market self. So, being able to identify the ways that you are going to be most effective in sharing your story, and being able to really connect with the audience that you want to connect with, whether that's a recruiter, whether that's a potential employer. It really is what you're trying to do to get yourself out into the world.
I love it. All right, y'all. So I want to say, hold on, let me make me also big. That's going to do it. We are currently scheduled for the episode 3 on June 28th. I am currently going to be on a family vacation, so stay tuned for updates on when that's going to happen. Either there'll be a guest host working with Virginia, which might be interesting, an opportunity for somebody else to cross-pollinate and collaborate and also get a different spin on how this show might run. But either way, stay tuned to the Simply Cyber channels for episode 3, which, by the way, I just want to tease it out. We talked about a little bit about show order and stuff like that. If I'm not mistaken, episode 3 is going to be decrypting marketing jargon for cyber entrepreneurs or decoding go-to-market. Which one is it?
I believe it's the decoding.
Okay, so decoding go-to-market, how to be a marketing ally and influence executives. There's a lot of great communication tips that we're going to be doing. Personal branding is how people perceive you, but communication is how you interact with other people, and there's a way to do it, and there's a way to absolutely not do it. And Virginia's going to drop all of the best practices for us in the next episode. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell for notifications. I don't typically say that because it's so cringy, but literally, if you want to be able to know when we're going live with Virginia, because this is a limited run series, do those things. If not, catch the replay. The content will be good. You just won't be able to ask her questions. All right, Virginia, thank you so much. I know everybody in chat's super grateful for your time and for all of your valuable experience. We'll see you on the next episode of episode 3, right?
Sounds great. Thank you
All
so
right,
much,
bye,
Gary. Thanks,
everybody.
everybody. Good to see you again.
Yep. Everybody, I hope you enjoyed that content. Keep the cybersecurity train going by connecting with the other Simply Cyber community resources. We have the Discord server that's lively and always keeps the conversation going. You can connect with me directly on LinkedIn. And also every single weekday morning on the Simply Cyber channel, we're doing live daily cyber threat briefings, 8 a.m. Eastern time, as well as Thursday at 4:30 p.m. We're doing live stream interviews with industry experts, and we produce videos that we push out every Wednesday morning. I'm Jerry from Simply Cyber. I hope you enjoyed the content.